4 cameras in this device. There's the one on the front, and there's 3 in the back. And it's a 16 megapixel image shooter, but you also have the motion tracking camera, there's aerial learning, and depth perception. So the reason for all that, of course, is because, oh yeah, there's a fingerprint sensor in there too. I should mention that. The reason for all those cameras is for the augmented reality features that are embedded in the device. Now, unfortunately, I can't show you them on this particular unit because those apps are taken off because apparently it was a madhouse earlier. So be that as it may, I will look to get to a demo station that will show off what it can do. But in short, it's pretty cool. The idea where you can bring in some of these virtual elements into the real world, it's very, very cool. But for the moment, I'll just stick to the device itself. So I'm going to key in here on some of the specs so you can see those. And you'll note, pretty big display, right? 6.4 inches. It's the world's first Tango phone, of course. That's not a surprise. Basically 4,000 milliamp battery, very, very large, 4 gigs of RAM, and 64 gigs of storage. 3 mic array. There's a lot in there. And it's running on Marshmallow. But given that this is a pretty stock version of Android, I imagine an upgrade to Android N would not be long in the offing after Google opens the floodgates on that. Now, this device is not coming to Canada, or at least it's not confirmed to come to Canada, but it might. And they announced a $499 US unlocked price point for this device, which is really interesting. And interesting, it's also, see that? It's using micro USB. Not USB-C like the Moto Z. Interesting. And you got the speakers at the bottom. So, as I said, there's no confirmed launch here for Canada for this device. We do know that Best Buy will be a retailer in the U.S. So it will be sold unlocked in retail, at least in the United States. In Canada, we don't know. But if you are interested in the device and it doesn't come to Canada in the end, you still can get one if you visit the U.S. Aside from that, it is a large phone. I mean, compared to the Note, which I don't have with me, unfortunately, or any of the other large phablets, this thing is just monstrous by comparison. I had compared it to an iPhone 6 Plus earlier, and that was really something. It basically dwarfed that phone. So this is, this is definitely a phablet, but it's practically a tablet. It's very, very huge, very, very large, very, very large. The fit and finish. It's a metal body, so this is not a plastic body like the Moto Z has. And although it's heavy, which is understandable because of the size, this is a pretty premium looking phone, all things considered. It's not bad at all. And now that as I've been playing around with it, it's not wieldy though, that's for sure. And look, wearing it, like just holding it, just to make a phone call is a little bit unseemly as well, to be very honest. But I wish I could compare this to the original Galaxy Note, which had a fairly large bezel around its 5.3-inch screen, and see just how it compared in size to this, because the screen goes pretty far along the sides. It's just the top and the bottom that are a little bit high. But other than that, yeah, this is kind of an interesting device, but very niche, especially with all the Tango features, which look cool but are still unproven. Just to give you an idea of how Tango looks and how it works. So what the demo showing here is appliances that have been placed into it's not a kitchen space here, obviously, but for demo purposes, it looks like one. And how it would look to put a virtual object into a real life setting. So for people who are looking for furniture and trying to wonder, will the furniture fit with the decor of the place and so on and so forth, will I like the way it looks, this is a good example of how such a technology could at least help visualize what it will look like.
So here's an app by Lowe's.
So Lowe's has an app that allows you to basically to experiment with some of the different,
visualize new flooring, furniture,
yes,
equipment in your kitchen. So let's start with the flooring. I like the dark cherry flooring, so I actually lay out some floor, and I'm going to just use this like a paintbrush.
So he's moving the flooring across to show. to show how it looks.
Rather
Now-
than getting small samples and placing it in the wall, so now you can actually have a more true-to-life experience on what it actually might look like.
How accurate are the colors though, based on and the lighting?
It's as accurate as the 3D model that Lowe's would provide,
Okay.
and that's not Tango related.
Yeah,
If their
yeah.
object is, if the 3D object that they provide is actually close
Right.
to life.
So the 3D objects are provided by Lowe's, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So 3D. So Lowe's provides the 3D objects, and Tango allows you to place them onto a real world
world.
surface, so that you can kind of see how to visualize basically how it looks and how it will
Yeah, so-
appear. And whether or not it'll fit with what you have in mind. So there we go. We have a chair now that's been added.
And what you could do, the chair is done. So we can actually get closer and see what the chair might look like, what the backrest might look like, what the legs are like, and you can walk around it and see if it fits your room's needs. Look at it from behind.
So the chair is a 3D, basically a 3D object, a virtual object, and you can get a pretty good idea of whether or not it'll fit. I mean, if you're into decor, home decor, this is something that could be very interesting for you.
Yep.
Can't sit in the chair, of course.
Yeah, try not to. Alright, let's do another one. Again, this one is an app called Measure that's done by Google. It's actually it's again a utilitarian app where you can think of it like a magic measure tape that allows you to take some quick and dirty measurements, estimations, without actually having. And so let's see.
So now,
Let's see if I want to just measure this.
So we're going to take a look at Measure. This is the Google app that allows you to measure
Things in 2D, 3D,
yeah,
whatever.
things in 2D or 3D. So
And so let's see if I can measure this carpet without actually resorting to a
he's
measure tape.
so
So I click here,
he's going to try and measure the carpet, the dimensions of the carpet here.
click here, then we go around you, click here, and click here, close the loop. Alright, so now this tells me that this is 1.5 meters by 2.4 meters, and you can actually take a walk with me, and we can come back in a bit. And when you come back here, you see those measurements will still be overlaid on top of your real world. The measurements still stick to the real world,
Yeah.
and you can, if I want to measure the ceiling and I don't have a step ladder, I can just point up here.
So the idea behind an app like this is for you to be able to measure things very quickly and without having to go get a ruler or measuring tape or anything of that sort, and especially also to measure things that are not necessarily reachable.
Yep.
So if you want to measure the distance between, let's say, the floor and the ceiling, you don't necessarily have to get a ladder to do that.
Yep.
Or hop onto a chair.
And also awkward size shapes, as an example. Like a lot of rooms have.
So for this demo, they're going to be showing us here how the dominoes game works with
Virtually.
Tango.
Yep. So it's dominoes on smartphone AR. So here I'm going to create some dominoes. Alright, and I'm actually going to get fancy with some toys. Like let's put an airplane. The airplane's going to fly around and come here. Maybe put a dinosaur in here, who's going to walk here.
So what he's doing here is that he's laying down pieces onto, now the carpet is real, but of course the dominoes and all the pieces are not. But the idea is that you can create a virtual, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what you would call this.
It's dominoes in augmented reality.
you know.
You actually have virtual dominoes in the real world. So you can play dominoes, but at the end you don't need to clean up.
Right, yes, exactly, there you go. So you play dominoes without actually cleaning anything up and adding all kinds of different obstacles and different set pieces that can go with dominoes as they all fall down.
Alright, I think that's enough, and we can start. So you actually
Okay.
want to get closer down. It's actually more fun to watch. So I'm going to start it now.
Okay.
I'm going to trigger the airplane. The airplane's going to hit the dinosaur, who's going to hit more of these. It's going to hit the frog. It's going to hit the cow. Oh, that's picked up by UFO. So that was my dominoes. We can reset it. See it much closer, like it was actually on the floor. So dominoes to the plane, more dominoes. like it's all there in your real world without actually being there.
Yes. So basically what's happened here is that this is a virtual game that has been played on a real world surface, and that's it. So if you ever want to set up a dominoes set piece with as many pieces as you want in as large a space as you want, this is what Tango can make it happen, it looks like, based on the demo that we saw here.
Yep. Cool, thanks.